Hello everybody, welcome to Technique Tuesday. I first of all want to say before we get techniquing is that today is the first day of the brand new Stampin' Up catalogue. So woohoo! Very exciting. All the new products are up and available. If you want to have a look at my website, which is listed in the description below, you will be able to see them. I am going to show you how to do masking today. There'll be regular masking and reverse masking, but as a small bonus I'm going to show you how to cut a frame and save a little bit of cardstock. So we're going to start with Daffodil Delight, and it's cut at 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. There's the red layer which is cut at 5 by 4, and the white layer which is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. But however, boop, I cut that out, and when the card's all assembled you can't tell. So let me just show you quickly how to do that. You take the piece of cardstock, line it up on the paper cutter at the 1/2 inch mark, and then you, oops, that's the scoring blade. The Stampin' Up paper cutter will just actually, the blade is just a little triangle, so it will actually just poke straight in, and you cut up to about 1/2 inch. And then again you line it up at the 1/2 inch mark, put it in 1/2 inch from the bottom, go up to about 1/2 inch from the top, and then you've got the two sides cut. And then you can either measure it to 1/2 inch. I tend to just eyeball mine, and then we're going to cut from the scoring part and the cut part to the cut part. So we put it in, line it up and cut, and then lined up at the 1/2 inch mark. Actually, you can see there I went a little bit wild and went a bit far, but when you pop this piece out, when the white cardstock goes on the top, you can't see, and then when, of course, when it goes onto the yellow, you also can't see. And then I'm going to use this piece to make some of the other embellishments that we're going to put on the card. So let's get going. So like I say, it's 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. Hold it in half, and that will be ready for our layer. So we're going to stamp balloons today, but we're going to have 5 of them. And the problem with doing that is if you want some to look like they're in the front, you would stamp over them. So this is how we are going to get around that. What I did was I went ahead, just a regular old Post-it, and stamped 2 balloons, doesn't matter what quality of stamping there is, up towards the sticky end. And then I cut them out. So it's one I did earlier, so you don't have to sit and watch me do that. So then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp 2 balloons on here. Just like that. And then wash it off nicely. Then we're going to add the mask, which will stop any ink getting mingled with them. And then we're going to switch to the Daffodil Delight. And stamp some more balloons on there. And then, of course, the good part is the ink has gone onto the mask, so when you peel it off, it's not orange. Basically, red and yellow makes orange, so they just keep their own color. So I'm going to pop those back into the box on the lid, because you can always keep them and reuse them, which is a great thing. take that off its little block, and then I'm going to take one of the balloon strings and the Memento black ink, and I'm actually going to stamp the strings. However, you will see where the little tied part of this one came out. It was behind the other balloon, so we'll simply pop the mask back on, line up in the general area of where the mask would go to, and rather than having a big black line on that balloon, when you remove the mask, it appears like it's just come from behind. Pop that back on its little place. And then the ink will dry, and then the piece that we cut out of here that we've saved, what I did was I went ahead and cut it, made a little happy birthday sign. I'll pop it into, oops, up into the banner cutter. Doesn't seem to want to go all the way. So you get a nice banner end. Just push it till it stops. Cut it and you get the banner end. Not much scrap, which is what we like. We like to make the most of all of our card stock. And then this was just a little scrap of white that I had. I went ahead and stamped the happy birthday, which came in the set. And just attach that to the front. And now we'll do a little bit of assembly. Put that on the red, and like I say, that hides the fact that there's nothing behind it. Put it onto the card front, which hides the fact that there's nothing behind it. And then we can go ahead and pop the greeting on with some dimensionals, because they are our favorite. Take off the backing release paper. And they have a nice quick and easy card, which has got dimension because the balloons are at different heights. And actually even this one that has the boo-boo, it just looks like the light is shining on the balloons. So that's the first card. The second card, I'm going to go ahead and make a reverse and a masked card. So we're going to take 2 sets of cards, lots of sets of inks. We're just going to use a regular circle, which I cut with the 2-inch punch. Actually, that's a lie. It's the 2.5-inch punch. That's the largest punch there is before I would have to get my dies out and cut it with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the post-it over where this goes, then take the pool party and one of the blending brushes, Just dab a little bit off and then add just a little bit to the side. So we've got just a half. Then what I did was I actually cut out a 1-inch circle using, well, 1-inch hole punch. So that is now going to go over here. I'm then going to line up the post-it note. No, Alyson, note. Line the post-it note up and mask the blue that we did. So that is securely covered. And then I'm going to use the marigold ink and another blending brush. I'm just going to add a little bit of sunset to that. The blending brushes are great because you can add as much as you want. It's always best to add a little bit because you can always add more, but you can't take it off once it's on. So we've now got a sun setting, we've got the lovely sky, and we've got the ocean. And then I am going to take, whoops, I'll put it over here. One of my favorite sets, the ocean front. I'm just going to add some grasses. To the front at different heights. Oh my gosh, it's sticky this evening. And I think that's a really lovely little sunset. And then I took a piece of Pool Party, cut it 11 by 4.5, scored it 4.25, scored it 5.5. I'm just going to fold that over, give it a nice crisp edge. I'm going to actually attach this with dimensionals, so it will make it pop up a little bit, but then I will give you the little tip. I think we've discussed it before, but where to place things so you don't have to pay the extra postage. 1 round of dimensionals can get through, but if it's double thickness, if it's twice as fat as that, sometimes they'll tell you that your envelope is too fat and charge you the extra stamp. So we don't particularly want that to happen. So we'll put all of the dimensionals for the basic white on the outside, and then when it comes to attaching the circle, we will put it in the middle so it can get squished together while it's, come on Mr. Dimensional, while it's running. And we'll just pop that there. And then what we need is a greeting. And I'm not sure. Hope you find a little bit of paradise. It's one I've used quite often and it's one I really like. So let's pop that on there. And then we'll use the Bermuda Bay because it's just a little bit of a darker colour. And there you have it. That's masked and dimensionalized. So let me show you how you would do that the other way around. It's using the same stamps and the same inks. So again, Pool Party, 11 by 4.25, scored at 5.5. Nice little crisp edge. We'll just set that off to one side. So what I did this time was I actually cut the circle out of a piece of just copy paper. It's better if it's thinner because when you come to do the sponging, you can get a little bit closer. But as it's not a post-it note, of course, you don't want it to run away with itself. So I'm just going to put a teeny tiny little dot in the top corners and put it there. Hopefully the post-it note will actually stretch across to keep it safe. Let me just make sure that's straight. You want a nice, actually I'm going to use the grid paper and eyeball it so to help me get it straight. Okay, pool party. Oops. So now we've got it masked for the top of the sun, masked at the top for the sunset, but we're also masking the bottom because this is going straight onto the cardstock itself. So there's the ocean. We will leave the reverse mask in place. Let's pop the sun in, or the moon, or whatever it is. It's the sun, I suppose, because it's setting. Line those up again. We'll take the marigold. And sponge these. So go, so we can take the mask off. Take the sun mask off. We need to stamp now the grass while it's still masked around. We'll put one there. And one down at the bottom. And then we will peel off the reverse mask carefully. And that's how it looks. So now it's actually on the body of the stamp, the card. And then we will take our greeting once more. Little bit of paradise wherever you may be. There's a song in there somewhere. So, and then we will add the dimensionals. Oops. So just a few of those. Take off the backing paper. Just pop that one layer on. So there you have it, quick and easy. There is the balloons with the little frame cut out to have the extra cardstock. That's just the reverse mask. This is the masked and raised. I'll have to pull that down so we hide that little bit of black. I think they're rather pretty. Thank you so much for watching. And like I say, tomorrow is, well, I'm doing this the day before. So today, as you're watching Technique Tuesday, today the new catalogue is coming out. So go ahead and check out my website listed below and see if there's anything that you fancy. Thank you so much for watching.